he's got some sketches that were just groundbreaking, like the black white supremacist who was blind. That's right. I think it's the greatest sketch comedy show of all time.
Yeah.
Amidst the backlash and an intense walkout from some Netflix employees, many celebrities have spoken up either against or in defense of controversial comedian Dave Chappelle.
Is the baddest person to touch a microphone that's alive right now. I will say it, and I will stand by it.
Dave's a beast. Dave's a beast, man. That's the only man that puts a little fear in my heart. I'm like, okay,
it's real.
What's he doing?
Do you watch him? Do you watch him?
Totally.
You study?
Totally. I got Chappelle. I got an app. I follow him. I'm like, you know, my man Prince Paul always says, competition keeps you in condition.
True.
You know? So yeah, that's my man right there.
After the release of Dave Chappelle's routine, The Closer, which pulled and poked fun at trans people, Dave Chappelle became a target of furious tweets and fingers pointing at the comedian's audacity to speak against an already marginalized community. As tweeted by a Netflix employee who is transgender, Jaclyn Moore stepped up and boycotted the streaming giant for future projects. She was the showrunner for Dear White People, a Netflix show. So what happened? First, let's talk about the controversial routine in which Chappelle basically talks about the toxic cancel culture and how it takes away one's freedom of speech. He then illustrated his point through various jokes, like declaring himself a Terf.
We were at the Comedy Cellar. Chappelle comes in. Yo, what up, guys? Hey, y'all go up already? Yeah, we just fucking went up. You going up? Yeah, all right, we gonna watch. Me and Chris sit in the back. Dave was up probably for 20 minutes. There was a moment where me and Chris looked at ourselves and the jokes that we just had, we were going over them. At the same time, we balled this shit up.
Do you consider yourself the greatest?
No. Dave Chappelle still lives and breathes.
Okay.
And, you know, the fact that the industry blacklisted him for the last 7 years does not take away from the fact that he still walks the earth. So I stand in deference to him, but I am the king of all of the rest of comedy, let's make no mistake.
Short for trans-exclusionary radical feminist, a term known to label anti-trans campaigners. Additionally, he went on to defend J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter. She had previously been under fire for being transphobic, as she labeled a trans woman's genitalia not quite what it is. In Dave Chappelle's words, they canceled J.K. Rowling. My God. Effectively, she said gender was a fact. The trans community got mad as they started calling her a Terf. I'm Team Terf. Then, Chappelle poked more fun at the LGBTQ members by telling a roundabout banter with a lesbian. He called the woman him and said gender is a fact, diminishing the identity of trans people.
Either watching him or actually being a chance to interact with him.
I mean, just try to learn, man. He's just a great comedian. I enjoy watching. He's one of, like, there's a lot of headliners that are great, but you only want to see their show once or twice. It's a lot of just him talking about what's going on and talking about music or telling old stories. And so it's real fun to watch him on any given night.
This, of course, filled the trans community with rage, and they took to their socials and shared their dismay at the transphobic comments of the infamous comedian. And we are seeing reactions of various celebrities coming out and reacting to Dave Chappelle's being canceled.
Chappelle's jokes. And by the way, I noticed people didn't focus on what he had to say about Daphne, and that's how he ended The Closer. I don't know if you all watched it yet, but Daphne was a trans woman who's a comedian who he befriended and who was supportive of him, and she was shunned from the LGBTQ community because of her support for Dave Chappelle. He actually let her perform on stage, and it's very interesting how he tells the story, but what he was saying is she was shunned and ended up taking her own life because of being shunned from her own community. So it is important for people to be able to have these discussions. If anything, if you don't agree with Dave Chappelle, at least what he's saying, I mean, he's a comedian.
And by the way, there's other things on that special you could really be outraged about. I mean, I'm not, I don't think they watched it. There's some other things they could really be outraged about.
Okay.
Dave Chappelle's a comedian. At the end of the day, he pushes the limit.
He's more than a comedian. He's a comedian, and he's one of the biggest voices we got out here. I mean, if you don't like it, just don't listen. Word up.
If you don't like it, turn it off. That's it.
I don't know what we hope to accomplish with any of this.
I don't know either.
Like, what can you do? He's buying his own comedy club.
You're not going to silence him.
No.
Netflix is not taking his special down. Netflix, the last special caused controversy. Netflix didn't take it.
And by the way, let's be clear. I'm sure Dave is smart enough and quite aware to know that this is going to cause controversy.
But Dave don't care. He does his comedy.
They're going to cancel me after this one.
And here's the other thing. Dave is not trying to be malicious.
Mm-hmm.
His intention is to be funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is funny.
It is.
For example, Dan Levy. He is known for being Schitt's Creek's creator. He was indeed against Dave Chappelle's comedy show and shared his feelings about the controversy and supported the walkout protest of the Netflix employees. On his Instagram, he said that he supports every Netflix employee who chose to raise their voice and stand up against the streaming giant to guarantee a safe and supportive work environment. He further added that there isn't a debate regarding the harmfulness of transphobia. The second star to speak up against the comedian is Jameela Jamil, a British actress who is notorious for her role in the show The Good Place on Netflix. She supported the protest in California and appeared in the video for the Netflix CEO, which discussed these dangers caused by transphobia. She took the matter to her Twitter, where she wrote, "I really wish I hadn't seen Chappelle's closing show. I hope he stays away for a long time, maybe until this legit obsession with undermining trans people goes away. Such a smart man, so willfully misinformed and committed to showing us what an out-of-touch bellend he's becoming." Even Elliot Page joined the slew of Dave Chappelle's backlashers by supporting the Netflix employees who walked out. In 2020, Page came out as trans. She is famous for her roles in X-Men and The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. She retweeted support for the rally and wrote, "I stand with the trans, non-binary, and BIPOC employees at Netflix, fighting for more and better trans stories and a more inclusive workplace. Hashtag Netflix walkout." Elliot and Jameela are backed by George Takei, an infamous Star Trek actor and campaigner. He is totally against Dave, as evident in his tweet. If Dave Chappelle had so blatantly attacked another minority group, such as Asians, Muslims, or Jews, would Netflix have so readily stood by his artistic freedom? It's hard not to feel like trans people are considered fair game in today's America. This is why we must speak out. Next, we have Billy on the Streets actor Billy Eichner. His game show is also accessible on Netflix. He supported the Netflix employees' walkout. In his tweet, he says that he is sending my love and full support to all trans employees and their allies participating in the hashtag Netflix walkout today. Numerous celebrities have also spoken in support of the pro-trans walkout video. The video includes celebrities like Sarah Ramirez, Colton Haynes, Angelica Ross, Jonathan Van Ness, Our Lady J, and Eureka O'Hara. The video was sent to Sarandos, who arose to support Dave Chappelle. According to Sarandos, Chappelle is one of the most popular stand-up comedians today, and we have a long-standing deal with him. His last specials, Sticks and Stones, also controversial, is our most watched, stickiest, and most award-winning stand-up special to date. As with our other talent, we work hard to support their creative freedom, even though this means there will always be content on Netflix some people believe is harmful. Like the Netflix CEO, another trans celebrity has thrown her support for the controversial comedian, and she is Caitlyn Jenner. She reposted a clip to Twitter and wrote that she supports Dave Chappelle because he is 100% correct. She rejected the backlash, stating that it isn't revolving around the LGBTQ community, rather is because of the woke cancel culture run wild. She tweeted, "We must never yield or bow to those who wish to stop us from speaking our minds." Regardless of the reactions and the backlash, Dave Chappelle says that people should just listen and watch his routine before coming at him, as he is ready to listen but definitely not ready to bend to their demands. And you? What do you think of this whole situation? Do you think there is more to Dave Chappelle's comedy routine? If so, let us know in the comments below. Till next time.